The deafening roar of failing engines filled the air as the escape pod hurtled through the atmosphere of an unknown planet. Inside, 3 12-year-old girls clung to their seats, their eyes wide with fear and determination. Astra, with her unruly red curls, gripped the controls tightly. Beside her, Nova's dark braids whipped around her face as she frantically typed on a flickering console. In the back, Celeste, her blonde hair in a messy ponytail, braced herself against the walls. "We're coming in too hot," Astra shouted over the din. "Nova, can you reroute any power to the stabilizers?" Nova's fingers flew across the keypad. "I'm trying, but nothing's responding." The pod shuddered violently, pieces of the outer hull tearing away. Celeste peered out the small window, watching as the alien landscape rushed up to meet them. Strange, spindly trees and blowing rock formations blurred past. "Brace for impact," Astra yelled, pulling hard on the controls in a last-ditch effort to slow their descent. With a bone-jarring crash, the pod slammed into the ground, skidding across the rocky terrain. The girls were thrown about, the world spinning around them in a chaotic whirl of sparks and screeching metal. When they finally came to a stop, an eerie silence fell over them. Groaning, Astra pushed herself up, checking herself for injuries. "Everyone okay?" Nova coughed, waving away the smoke that filled the cabin. "I think so. Celeste?" "I'm all right," Celeste called from the back, her voice shaky but strong. The girls carefully made their way out of the battered pod, stepping onto the alien soil for the first time. The air was thin and had a strange metallic taste. 2 moons hung in the purple sky, casting an otherworldly glow over the landscape. "Where are we?" Celeste wondered aloud, her eyes wide as she took in their surroundings. Nova pulled out a small device from her pocket, tapping its screen. "I can't get a signal. We must be way off course." Astra surveyed the wreckage of their pod, her heart sinking. "Well, we're not going anywhere in that. We need to find shelter and figure out our next move." As the adrenaline of their crash landing began to wear off, the reality of their situation set in. They were stranded on an alien world, with no way to call for help. But these weren't ordinary girls. They were the children of some of Earth's brightest scientists and explorers, and they'd been trained for emergency situations since they could walk. "Okay," Nova said, taking charge. "Let's salvage what we can from the pod. We need water, food, and anything that might help us communicate or defend ourselves." The girls set to work, their movements quick and efficient despite their young age. They gathered emergency rations, water purifiers, and a few basic tools. Astra managed to retrieve a portable energy cell, while Celeste found a medical kit. As they worked, the alien sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange and green. Strange, bird-like creatures soared overhead, their calls echoing across the barren landscape. "We should find somewhere to make camp for the night," Celeste suggested, eyeing the darkening sky nervously. Astra nodded, pointing to a cluster of rock formations in the distance. "Those look like they might provide some shelter. Let's head that way." As they trudged across the alien terrain, each girl lost in her own thoughts, they couldn't help but wonder what other surprises this strange world had in store for them. Little did they know, their greatest challenge was yet to come, one that would test their courage, ingenuity, and the very limits of human determination. The rock formation loomed before them, casting long shadows in the fading light. As they approached, they noticed strange, glowing symbols etched into the stone. "What do you think these mean?" Celeste asked, running her hand over the luminescent markings. Nova shook her head. "No idea, but they're definitely not natural. Someone, or something, made these." Astra's eyes narrowed as she scanned their surroundings. "Let's stay alert. We don't know what kind of life might be out here." As night fell, the girls huddled together in a small cave they'd found among the rocks. The alien moons cast an eerie glow, illuminating the strange landscape around them. Despite their exhaustion, sleep didn't come easily. Every unfamiliar sound made them jump, their imaginations running wild with thoughts of what might be lurking in the darkness. But as frightening as their situation was, there was also an undercurrent of excitement. They were the first humans to set foot on this world, embarking on an adventure beyond their wildest dreams. As they drifted off to sleep, each girl silently vowed to face whatever challenges lay ahead with courage and determination. Little did they know, their true test was about to begin, one that would push them to their limits and show the universe what humanity was truly capable of. As the alien sun rose, casting a pale blue light across the landscape, Astra, Nova, and Celeste emerged from their makeshift shelter. Their first full day on this strange world stretched before them, filled with both danger and possibility. "First things first," Astra said, her voice filled with determination. "We need to find a water source." Nova nodded, pulling out a small device from their salvaged supplies. "This scanner should help us detect any nearby water. Let's hope it works in this atmosphere." The girls set out, their eyes constantly scanning the alien terrain for any signs of danger or opportunity. Strange plants dotted the landscape, some with leaves that seemed to glow, others with tendrils that reached out as if trying to grab them. After an hour of careful trekking, the scanner in Nova's hand began to beep. "I think we've got something," she exclaimed, pointing to a small valley ahead. As they crested a hill, they saw it. A stream of silvery liquid flowing between rocks of deep purple. Celeste knelt by the stream, her scientific curiosity taking over. "It looks like water, but we can't be sure it's safe." Astra pulled out their water purifier. "Let's run it through this and see what happens." The girls watched anxiously as the purifier processed the alien liquid. To their relief, it came out clear and, after careful testing, proved to be drinkable. With their most immediate need met, the girls turned their attention to food. Their emergency rations wouldn't last forever, and they needed to find a sustainable food source. As they explored, they came across a grove of trees bearing fruit that looked like a cross between an apple and a starfish. Celeste, whose parents were botanists, examined them carefully. "These look similar to some edible plants back on Earth. If we're careful, we might be able to eat them." After thorough testing and a nervous first bite, the girls found the starfruits to be not only edible but delicious. It was their first victory on this alien world, and it filled them with hope. As days passed, the girls settled into a routine. They improved their shelter, learned which plants were safe to eat, and even began to recognize patterns in the local wildlife. But they never forgot their ultimate goal, finding a way off the planet. One evening, as they sat around a small fire made from bioluminescent plants, Nova voiced what they'd all been thinking. "We need to explore further. There might be clues about this planet's history or even signs of advanced civilization that could help us." Astra nodded, her eyes reflecting the flickering blue flames. "You're right. We can't just wait to be rescued. We need to take action." Celeste, always the voice of caution, added, "But we need to be careful. We don't know what kind of dangers are out there." The next morning, with renewed purpose, the girls packed supplies and set out to explore beyond their small territory. They hiked across vast plains of shimmering grass and through forests of towering crystalline trees. As the second sun was setting, casting the sky in a brilliant purple hue, something on the horizon caught Astra's eye. "Look," she shouted, pointing to a distant hill. Squinting against the fading light, Nova and Celeste saw it too. A structure that was decidedly not natural. Its sleek, metallic surface reflected the light of the setting suns, standing in stark contrast to the organic shapes of the surrounding landscape. Excitement and apprehension filled the air as the girls looked at each other. This could be the breakthrough they'd been hoping for, or it could be a danger beyond anything they've faced so far. "Should we check it out?" Celeste asked, her voice a mix of fear and curiosity. Astra nodded, her jaw set with determination. "We have to. It might be our only chance to find a way home." As they approached the structure, its true scale became apparent. It was massive, easily the size of a football stadium back on Earth. Strange symbols, similar to those they'd seen on the rocks near their crash site, decorated its surface. Nova ran her hand along the smooth metal. This is incredible. The technology to build something like this, it must be far beyond what we have on Earth. Suddenly, a low humming filled the air. The girls froze, watching in awe and terror as a section of the wall began to slide open. "Should we run?" Celeste whispered, her body tense and ready to flee. But Astra stood her ground, her curiosity overcoming her fear. "No, we came this far for answers. We can't turn back now." As the door fully opened, revealing a dimly lit interior, the girls exchanged determined looks. Whatever lay inside, be it salvation or danger, they would face it together. With hearts pounding and hands clasped tightly, Astra, Nova, and Celeste stepped into the unknown, ready to write the next chapter in their incredible journey. The interior of the structure was a marvel of technology, with pulsing lights and humming machinery unlike anything the girls had ever seen. As they cautiously made their way deeper inside, their eyes wide with wonder, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "This place is amazing," Nova whispered, her fingers itching to examine the various consoles and devices that lined the walls. "But where are the beings that built it?" As if in answer to her question, a soft whirring sound came from behind them. The girls spun around, their hearts racing, to find themselves face to face with an alien being. It was tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with every movement. Its large, almond-shaped eyes regarded them with what seemed to be a mixture of curiosity and concern. The alien had no visible mouth, but somehow, its thoughts projected directly into the girls' minds. "Young ones," the alien's voice echoed in their heads, "you are far from home." For a moment, the girls were too stunned to speak. Astra, always the bravest, stepped forward. "Yes, we are. Our ship crashed on your planet. Can you help us get back to Earth?" The alien's eyes seemed to soften. "I am Zix, last of the Lumarians. I'm afraid I cannot send you home, for I too am stranded here." As Zix explained, the girls learned that the Lumarians were once a great spacefaring civilization, but a catastrophic event had left their ships unable to leave the planet's atmosphere. Zix was the last survivor, maintaining the ancient facility in hopes of one day repairing their great ship and leaving the dying world. "But how have you survived here alone?" Celeste asked, her scientific curiosity piqued. Zix gestured to the machinery around them. "Our technology sustains me, but it is failing. Soon, this place will be as lifeless as the rest of the planet." Nova's eyes lit up with an idea. "Maybe we can help each other. We need a way off this planet, and you need help repairing your ship. If we work together, we might both get what we need." Zix considered this for a moment, hope flickering in its luminous eyes. "Perhaps, but the task is monumental, and time is short. Are you certain you're up to the challenge?" The girls exchanged determined looks. This was their chance, not just to get home, but to save a dying civilization. "We are," Astra said firmly. "Tell us what we need to do." Over the next few days, Zix taught the girls about Lumarian technology. It was incredibly advanced, yet based on principles that weren't entirely foreign to them. Nova, with her knack for engineering, quickly grasped the basics of their propulsion systems. Celeste's knowledge of biology helped her understand the biomechanical interfaces that controlled much of the ship. Astra, always a quick study, absorbed everything she could about navigation and life support systems. As they worked, the girls shared stories of Earth with Zix, who was fascinated by their accounts of oceans, forests, and the diversity of life on their home planet. In turn, Zix told them of the golden age of Lumarian civilization, of the wonders they had seen across the galaxy, and of the tragic accident that had left them stranded. One evening, as they were taking a break from their work, Zix's demeanor suddenly changed. The alien's skin pulsed with urgent patterns of light. "What's wrong?" Astra asked, sensing the shift in mood. Zix's mental voice was tinged with alarm. "I've detected a gravitational anomaly. A rogue planet is passing through this system, and its trajectory will bring it dangerously close to us. The implications hit the girls like a physical blow. If a rogue planet came too close, it could destabilize its world's orbit, potentially tearing it apart. "How long do we have?" Nova asked, her mind already racing with calculations. "At its current speed, we have less than a week before it reaches its closest approach," Six replied gravely. The girls looked at each other, a mix of fear and determination in their eyes. Their task, already daunting, had just become a race against time. They needed to repair the ship and escape before the rogue planet arrived, or they might never leave this world at all. "Then we'd better get back to work," Astra said, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her stomach. "We've come too far to give up now." As they returned to their tasks with renewed urgency, the girls couldn't help but feel the weight of their situation. They were no longer just trying to get home, they were fighting for survival itself. But with Zix's knowledge and their own ingenuity, they were determined to beat the odds. Little did they know, the greatest challenge was yet to come, one that would push their skills, their courage, and their newfound friendship to the very limit. As the days ticked by, the urgency of their situation became increasingly apparent. The girls worked tirelessly alongside Zix, their young minds absorbing complex alien technology at an astounding rate. The massive Lumerian ship, dormant for so long, was slowly coming back to life under their combined efforts. However, as they delved deeper into the ship's systems, they encountered a major obstacle. The main engine, the heart of the vessel, was severely damaged. "This is bad," Nova muttered, her brow furrowed as she examined the intricate network of glowing conduits and pulsating crystals that made up the engine core. "The quantum flux regulator is completely fried. Without it, we'll never achieve escape velocity." Zix's skin dimmed, a sign of distress. "I'm afraid we don't have the resources to fabricate a new one. This component was unique to our civilization." Astra paced back and forth, her mind racing. "There has to be a way. Maybe we can adapt something from our escape pod." Celeste, who had been quietly observing the engine, spoke up. "What if we combine technologies? Use parts from our pod with Lumerian tech to create a hybrid system." The idea sparked a glimmer of hope. It was audacious, perhaps even impossible, but it was their only chance. Over the next few days, the girls threw themselves into the task with renewed vigor. They cannibalized their escape pod, salvaging every usable component. Nova and Zix worked on integrating Earth technology with the alien systems, while Astra and Celeste focused on reprogramming the ship's computer to accept the hybrid engine. The work was grueling, filled with setbacks and moments of near despair. More than once, they thought they'd succeeded, only to have the engine sputter and die during testing. Each failure was a blow to their morale, the looming deadline of the approaching rogue planet weighing heavily on their minds. On the eve of their final day, exhausted and covered in grease and alien fluids, the girls sat around the engine core. They had one last chance to get it right before the gravitational forces of the rogue planet would make escape impossible. "Maybe we're going about this all wrong," Celeste said, absently twirling a piece of wire between her fingers. "We've been trying to make our tech fit the Lumerian system. What if we did it the other way around?" Nova's eyes lit up. "You mean, use the Lumerian engine as a booster for our simpler Earth tech? That's brilliant." With renewed energy, they set to work on their final attempt. Hours ticked by as they rewired, recalibrated, and reimagined the entire engine system. Zix watched in amazement as the young humans pushed the boundaries of what it thought possible, combining technologies in ways the Lumerian had never considered. As the first tremors of the approaching planet began to shake the facility, they were ready for the final test. The hybrid engine hummed to life, its glow a mix of familiar blue and alien green. "It's working," Astra breathed, hardly daring to believe it. "We did it." But their celebration was cut short as alarms began to blare throughout the ship. The tremors were getting stronger, and the planet's unstable core was reacting to the gravitational pull of the rogue planet. "We need to leave now," Zix urged, its mental voice tinged with panic. "The planet is breaking apart." The girls scrambled to their positions, their hearts racing as they initiated the launch sequence. The ship groaned and creaked, fighting against the increasing gravitational forces. "Come on," Nova muttered, her hands flying over the controls. "Just a little more." With a deafening roar, the hybrid engine kicked into full power. The ship lurched upward, breaking free of the crumbling planet's surface. Through the viewscreen, they watched in awe and horror as the world that had been their home for the past weeks fractured and split, torn apart by cosmic forces beyond their control. As they broke through the atmosphere, a cheer went up from the small crew. They had done the impossible, combining human ingenuity with alien technology to escape certain doom. But their journey was far from over. As the stars spread out before them, Astra, Nova, and Celeste exchanged determined looks. They had a long way to go before they reached Earth, and who knew what adventures awaited them in the vast expanse of space. With Zix as their guide and that unbreakable bond of friendship, they set a course for home, ready to face whatever challenges the universe had in store for them. As the Lumerian ship sailed through the vastness of space, the initial elation of their escape began to fade, replaced by the sobering reality of their situation. They were alive, yes, but lost in an unfamiliar part of the galaxy with limited resources and a hybrid engine that, while functional, was far from stable. "We need to find a way to stabilize the engine," Nova said, her eyes fixed on the fluctuating energy readings. "If we don't, we might end up stranded again, but this time in deep space." Zix's mental voice was tinged with concern. "Our knowledge of this region is limited. We must be cautious." Astra, ever the optimist, squared her shoulders. "We've come this far. We'll figure it out together." Over the next few days, the unlikely crew fell into a rhythm. Celeste used her knowledge of biology to help Zix maintain the ship's life support systems, ensuring they had breathable air and sustainable nutrition. Astra took to navigation like a fish to water, plotting their course through unfamiliar star systems. Nova, with Zix's guidance, worked tirelessly on improving their hybrid engine. One cycle, as they were gathered in the ship's control room, an alert sounded. "What's that?" Celeste asked, her eyes wide. Zix's skin pulsed with excitement. "It's a distress signal from another ship." The girls exchanged looks of surprise and apprehension. This could be an opportunity for help, but it could also be a trap. After a heated debate, they decided to investigate. As they approached the source of the signal, they saw a small ship adrift in space, its hull damaged by what looked like asteroid impacts. "Should we try to communicate with them?" Astra asked, her hand hovering over the communication controls. Before anyone could answer, a holographic image flickered to life in the center of their control room. The being that appeared was unlike anything they had ever seen, a swirling mass of energy contained within a vaguely humanoid form. "Greetings," the being's voice resonated in their minds, similar to how Zix communicated. "I am Vex of the Ethereals. My ship has been damaged, and I am in need of assistance." The girls and Zix introduced themselves, explaining their own situation. As they talked, they learned that Vex was an explorer, studying the phenomena of space-time. Its ship contained advanced technology that could potentially help stabilize their engine. "Perhaps we can help each other," Vex suggested. "If you can repair my ship, I can provide you with the knowledge to improve your engine." It was an opportunity they couldn't pass up. Over the next few days, the girls worked alongside Vex and Zix to repair the Ethereal's ship. The process was challenging, requiring them to think in new ways and adapt their skills to work with entirely alien concepts. Nova was fascinated by the Ethereal's quantum technology. "This is incredible," she exclaimed, examining a piece of equipment that seemed to exist in multiple states at once. "If we could incorporate some of this into our engine, we might be able to achieve faster-than-light travel." Celeste, meanwhile, was intrigued by the biological components of Vex's ship. It's like the ship is alive, she mused, watching as damaged sections regenerated themselves. Astra found herself drawn to the navigation systems, which used complex calculations to plot courses through space-time itself. With this, she said, her eyes shining, we might actually be able to find our way back to Earth. As they worked, the girls shared stories of their adventures with Vex, who in turn regaled them with tales of the wonders it had seen in its travels across the cosmos. The Ethereal was impressed by their resourcefulness and determination. You young humans have shown remarkable adaptability, Vex observed. Many species would have given up in the face of such challenges, but you persevere. Finally, after days of intense work, both ships were repaired and improved. The girls' hybrid engine now incorporated elements of ethereal technology, making it more stable and efficient. Vex had provided them with star charts and calculations that would help them navigate their way home. As they prepared to part ways, Vex turned to the girls. You have a long journey ahead, but I believe you will succeed. The universe has a way of guiding those with courage and ingenuity to where they need to be. With heartfelt goodbyes and promises to meet again someday, the two ships parted ways. As Vex's ship disappeared into the distance, the girls felt a mix of sadness and excitement. They had made a new friend and gained invaluable knowledge, but the greatest challenge still lay ahead, finding their way back to Earth. As they set a course for home, guided by their improved navigation systems and powered by their enhanced engine, the girls couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. They had faced unimaginable challenges and grown in ways they never thought possible. You know, Astra said, looking out at the star-filled expanse before them, no matter what happens next, I'm glad we're in this together. Nova and Celeste nodded in agreement, and even Zix's skin glowed warmly. They were more than just survivors now, they were explorers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible, and together, they were ready to face whatever the universe had in store for them on their journey home. The vastness of space stretched before them, a canvas of stars and nebulae that both awed and intimidated. With their newly improved ship, Astra, Nova, Celeste, and Zix had been traveling for what felt like an eternity, following the star charts provided by Vex. Earth was still a distant goal, but hope burned brightly within them. However, their journey was far from smooth. The hybrid engine, while more stable, still required constant maintenance. Nova spent hours each day fine-tuning the delicate balance between Earth and Lumerian technology, her young mind pushed to its limits as she grappled with concepts beyond her years. I think I've got it this time, Nova said one day, wiping sweat from her brow as she emerged from the engine room. We should be able to push our speed a little more without risking a meltdown. Astra grinned from her position at the navigation console. Perfect timing. I've just calculated a new route that could shave off a few light years from our journey. Celeste, who had been working with Zix on improving their life support systems, looked up with excitement. Really? That's great news. But their moment of triumph was short-lived. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship, red lights flashing ominously. What's happening? Celeste cried, her hands flying over the control panel. Zix's mental voice was urgent. We've entered a restricted zone. A patrol ship is approaching rapidly. Through the view screen, they saw a massive vessel materializing out of what seemed to be a fold in space itself. It dwarfed their ship, bristling with weapons that made their hearts sink. A booming voice echoed through their communication system. Unidentified vessel, you've entered Zorgon territory. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. The girls exchanged panicked looks. They had heard stories from Vex about the Zorgons, a warlike race known for their brutality and xenophobia. Being captured by them was not an option. We need to get out of here, Astra said, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. Nova, can the engine handle a burst of speed? Nova bit her lip, calculations racing through her mind. Maybe, but it'll be risky. We might burn out the core. We don't have a choice, Celeste interjected, watching as the Zorgon ship grew larger in their view screen. It's either that or capture. Zix's skin pulsed with determination. I concur. We must take the risk." With a nod, Nova raced back to the engine room. The others took their positions. Astra at navigation, Celeste on weapons, though their defenses were minimal, and Zix coordinating their efforts. "On my mark," Astra called out, her fingers flying over the controls as she plotted a desperate escape route. 3, 2, 1, now. Nova engaged the engine to full power, and their ship lurched forward with incredible speed. The sudden acceleration pinned them to their seats, the stars blurring into streaks of light around them. But the Zorgans were in pursuit, their superior technology allowing them to match the smaller ship's speed. Energy blasts rocked their vessel, shields flickering dangerously. "We can't outrun them forever," Celeste shouted over the din of alarms and creaking metal. "We need a plan." Astra's eyes darted across her console, searching for any advantage. Suddenly, she spotted something. There. A nebula, dense with cosmic dust and radiation. If we can make it there, we might be able to lose them. It was a desperate gamble. The nebula's intense radiation and unpredictable gravitational eddies could tear their ship apart. But faced with capture by the Zorgans, it was a risk they had to take. Diverting all power to engines and shields, Nova called out from the engine room, her voice strained. "But we're redlining everything. We won't be able to maintain this for long." As they plunged into the nebula, visibility dropped to near zero. Brilliant colors swirled around them, beautiful but deadly. The ship shuddered and groaned, battered by forces beyond their control. "I'm losing navigation," Astra cried out, her screens flickering with static. "We're flying blind." In that moment of desperation, an unexpected voice spoke up. It was Zix, but different, more focused, more powerful. "I can guide us. My species evolved in a similar environment eons ago. Trust me." Without any other choice, they surrendered control to Zix. The Lumarian's skin glowed brightly, pulsing with patterns they had never seen before. The ship responded, weaving through the chaos of the nebula with impossible precision. Behind them, they heard distant explosions. The Zorgon ships, less maneuverable and unprepared for the nebula's dangers, were being torn apart. For what felt like hours, they flew through the cosmic maelstrom, guided by Zix's ancestral memories. When they finally emerged on the other side, they were battered, exhausted, but alive and free. As the adrenaline faded, they looked at each other in disbelief, then broke into cheers and laughter. They had done it. Against all odds, they had escaped. That was incredible. Nova breathed, stumbling out of the engine room, her face smudged with grease but beaming with pride. Astra nodded, her eyes shining with admiration as she looked at Zix. "We couldn't have done it without you. All of you." As they set a new course, leaving the nebula and the threat of the Zorgans behind, a sense of renewed purpose filled them. They had faced their greatest challenge yet and emerged stronger, more united than ever. Earth was still a distant dream, but now they knew, truly knew, that together they could face anything the universe threw at them. As the stars stretched out before them, promising new adventures and challenges, Astra, Nova, Celeste, and Zix looked to the future with hope and determination. Their journey was far from over, but with each obstacle overcome, each light year crossed, they were one step closer to home. And in the end, they had discovered something perhaps even more valuable than a way back to Earth. They had found in each other a family, bound by shared experiences and an unbreakable spirit of adventure. As their ship sailed on through the cosmic sea, the girls and their alien friend knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. 3 young humans and a Lumarian, united by friendship, driven by courage, and guided by the eternal hope of finding their way home.